There's a moment in the healing journey that feels less like healing and more like breaking. It is the moment your anger returns, not as a flicker of irritation, but as a wild, unfamiliar fire. It rises in your chest with a force that shocks you. And in that moment, the most terrifying question arises, a question whispered by a part of you that is horrified by this new energy. Am I healing? Or am I just becoming a bitter, angry person? I want to speak directly to that fear, because the world has taught you to be terrified of that fire. But what if that fire is not meant to burn you down? What if it is the forge meant to remake you? Carl Jung taught us that the energy we suppress does not simply vanish. It festers. The anger you were not allowed to feel became the stagnant swamp of resentment. The frustration you swallowed became the slow poison of passive aggression. The shadow work we are doing is not about creating new anger. It is about liberating the pure, powerful energy that was always yours and has been trapped for far too long. This video is not about how to tame your anger. It is about understanding its sacred purpose and learning how to wield its fire without getting burned. The fear of our own anger is one of the most deeply programmed responses we have. From our earliest days, we are taught a simple, dangerous narrative. Love is soft. Compassion is quiet. Kindness is gentle. And anger? Anger is the opposite of all those things. It is the villain in our collective fairy tale. We are shown that the good daughter, the good mother, the good employee is the one who does not raise her voice, the one who absorbs tension, the one who maintains the peace even at the cost of her own. Anger, we learn, is the emotion of the unstable, the irrational, the unlovable. This isn't just a social preference. It is a form of deep cultural conditioning. It is a system designed to keep things orderly, predictable, and often to maintain existing power structures. An angry woman is a threat to the status quo. An angry person demanding their rights is inconvenient. So we are given 1,000 subtle and not so subtle messages to suppress this fire. We are told to calm down. We are asked, why are you so emotional? We are taught to relabel our righteous anger as something more palatable. We call it frustration or stress, or we just say we are having a bad day. We do anything but call it what it is. Anger. A pure, valid, and profoundly necessary human emotion. The journey of shadow work requires us to become cultural and personal archaeologists. We must be willing to dig beneath the stories we've been told and uncover the truth for ourselves. And the truth is this: your anger is not the opposite of your goodness. It is a fundamental component of it. A person who is incapable of anger is a person who is incapable of protecting what they love. A person who cannot access their anger is a person who will tolerate injustice, not because they are virtuous, but because they are disarmed. Let's think of a man we can call Michael. Michael is a 45-year-old software engineer known for being the calm, rational one in his team. He despises conflict. He grew up with a father who was a bully, and Michael swore he would never be like him. So he exiled his own anger into his shadow. He became the ultimate peacemaker. One day, in a team meeting, his boss publicly belittles a junior female colleague, making a sexist joke at her expense. The room goes quiet. The young woman is visibly humiliated. Michael feels a surge of something hot and sharp in his chest. It is anger. It is the guardian, sounding a powerful alarm that a value, the value of respect, of decency, has been violated. His inner protector wants to speak up, to say, that is not okay. But the old program, the fear of conflict, the terror of becoming his father, is stronger. So Michael says nothing. He looks down. He waits for the uncomfortable moment to pass. He chooses peace, or so he thinks. Later that week, Michael feels a growing sense of listlessness, a kind of low-grade depression he can't shake. He becomes irritable with his own family. He feels a deep, unnamed resentment towards his boss. He has avoided the clean, hot fire of a momentary confrontation, and instead has chosen the slow, toxic burn of resentment and self-contempt. He didn't protect his colleague, and in doing so, he didn't protect the part of himself that believes in justice. His inaction was a form of self-betrayal. What would have happened if Michael had honored his anger? He didn't need to scream or cause a scene. Honoring his anger could have been as simple as saying, calmly and firmly, after the meeting, "I was uncomfortable with the joke you made about Sarah. It wasn't appropriate." That single sentence would have been an act of immense power. It would have validated his own values. It would have stood up for his colleague. It would have transformed the raw energy of anger into a conscious act of integrity. Carl Jung believed that our greatest task is to achieve wholeness. And wholeness is not about being perpetually calm or happy. It is about having access to the full spectrum of our humanity. It is about having the capacity for love and the capacity for rage, the capacity for gentleness and the capacity for fierce protection. One without the other is not enlightenment. It is a form of spiritual amputation. You have cut off the very limb designed to defend the territory of your soul. So I invite you to reconsider the story you've been told about your anger. Think back. What were the messages you received as a child? Was anger allowed? Was it safe? Or was it the emotion that brought punishment, disapproval, or a terrifying silence? Recognizing this early programming is the first step to freeing yourself from it. It allows you to see that your fear of anger is not an inherent flaw, but a learned response to an environment that could not handle your power. The truth is, a healthy person is not a person who never feels anger. A healthy person is a person who has a clean, clear relationship with their anger. They know its purpose. They respect its power. They are not afraid of the fire because they have learned how to be the hearth that contains it, using its warmth and light to guide their way. And to do that, we must first learn to distinguish the clean fire from the toxic smoke. We must learn the difference between clean anger and dirty anger.
To reclaim the power of our anger, we must become skilled alchemists of the soul. We must learn to distinguish the pure gold from the toxic lead. This is the distinction between what I call clean anger and dirty anger. Understanding this difference is the key to all shadow healing around this powerful emotion. Let's start with the one we know all too well, dirty anger. Dirty anger is not really anger at all. It is resentment. It is bitterness. It is contempt. It is passive aggression. It is the cynical comment under your breath. Dirty anger is old energy. It is the accumulation of hundreds, perhaps thousands, of moments where clean anger was suppressed. It is the pain of a past boundary violation that was never addressed. It is stale, it is sticky, it feels heavy and polluting. Dirty anger is never about the present moment. It is always pointing backwards. It keeps a meticulous record of wrongs. It lives in the story of you always and you never. When you are in the grip of dirty anger, you don't want a solution. You want revenge. You want the other person to feel as bad as you have felt. It is a slow-acting poison that corrodes you from the inside out, and it contaminates every relationship it touches. It is the energy of the victim stewing in a pot of their own unexpressed pain. This is the anger that we are rightly taught to fear, because it is not a life-affirming force. It is a slow death. Now, let's talk about clean anger. Clean anger is a completely different creature. It is one of the purest, most honorable, and most powerful energies you can experience. Clean anger is not about the past. It is about this present moment, right now. It is a flash of lightning, a sudden, hot, clarifying fire. It arises in the instant a boundary is crossed. Its purpose is not to punish. Its purpose is to protect. Its goal is not to create suffering. Its goal is to stop an injustice in its tracks. Clean anger has no story attached to it. It has no memory. It doesn't say, "You always do this to me." It says simply, and with immense force, "No. Stop. That is not okay with me." Think of a mother bear. When a threat approaches her cubs, she doesn't sit and stew in resentment about it. She doesn't write a passive-aggressive note. A massive, clean, powerful wave of protective rage moves through her. She roars. She lunges. She neutralizes the threat. And then, this is the crucial part, the energy is gone. It doesn't linger. She doesn't hold a grudge against the threat. She goes back to her cubs. The energy has served its sacred purpose. It has protected what she loves. That is clean anger. Let's revisit Michael, the engineer who said nothing when his colleague was belittled. The hot surge he felt in that moment, that was clean anger. It was a pure, present moment signal to protect a value. But because he suppressed it, because he let it go unexpressed, he didn't give it a chance to do its job. So that clean energy didn't just disappear. It was forced into the shadow, where it began to stagnate. It curdled into the dirty anger of resentment towards his boss and irritability towards his family. He traded a moment of clean fire for a lifetime of toxic smoke. I know this from my own life. There was a time I allowed a friend to constantly make small, cutting remarks at my expense, usually in front of others. Each time I felt that flash of clean anger, the signal, and each time I swallowed it. I told myself I was being too sensitive, that they didn't mean it. I chose the peace of the moment. But the suppressed anger festered. It became a deep, ugly resentment, dirty anger. I found myself avoiding them, talking about them behind their back. The relationship became poisoned, not by their remarks, but by my refusal to honor my own anger. The healing only began when I finally allowed myself to access that clean anger. I took a deep breath, and the next time it happened, I said simply, "Ouch, that hurt. Please don't talk to me like that." It was terrifying, but it was clean. The energy moved. The cycle was broken. The journey of shadow work is the alchemical process of transforming our dirty anger back into clean anger. It is about taking that stagnant swamp of resentment and learning how to drain it. We do this by looking at our resentments one by one and asking the powerful question we learned in our last conversation. What boundary was crossed here? What need was not met? By doing this, we are tracing the dirty anger back to its source, back to the original, pure message that the guardian was trying to send. When you feel that familiar bitterness towards someone, that dirty anger, pause and ask yourself, if I could go back to the moment this started, what is the clean, simple, powerful sentence I wish I had said? Maybe it's, no, I am not available to help you with that. Maybe it's, please do not speak to me in that tone of voice. Maybe it's, I need you to take responsibility for your part in this. Just identifying that clean sentence is a profound act of healing. You are honoring the truth that was suppressed. You are giving your inner guardian the voice it never had. This doesn't mean you have to go back and say it now. The moment may have passed, but by acknowledging it within yourself, you release the stored, toxic energy. You let the ghost of that past injustice finally rest. And you equip yourself with the clarity to use clean anger the next time a boundary is tested. You are no longer a prisoner of the past. You are becoming a guardian of your present.
So we have a new framework, a way to distinguish the clean fire of protection from the toxic smoke of resentment. But how do we work with this fire once we feel it? How do we honor its message without letting it burn down our lives? This is the art of integrating the shadow of anger. It is a practice of conscious embodiment. I want to guide you through a practical shadow work exercise you can use whenever you feel the heat of anger, whether it is clean or dirty. This practice is designed to help you move the energy through your body in a safe, constructive way, so that it can be released rather than suppressed or destructively expressed. It is a process of feeling, validating, and then transforming the energy. The next time you feel that surge of anger, whether it's a flash of clean anger in the present moment, or the familiar heavy feeling of dirty anger and resentment, find a space where you can be alone for just 5 minutes. If you can't get away physically, you can do this mentally, right where you are. Step 1. Locate and allow. Close your eyes. Take a breath, and instead of pushing the anger away, I want you to invite it in. Turn your attention to your body and ask, where does this anger live right now? Scan your body with curiosity. Is it a fire in your belly? A pressure behind your eyes? Are your hands clenched into fists? Is your jaw tight? There is no right or wrong answer. Just notice. Once you've located it, your only job is to allow it to be there. Breathe into that space in your body. Don't try to relax it. Don't try to change it. Just be with it. By doing this, you are saying to your nervous system, this energy is not a threat. It is safe to feel this. This is the first step in building a new relationship with anger. You are moving from fear to presence. Step 2. Give it a voice without words. Now that you are present with the physical sensation, we need to give this energy a way to express itself without hurting anyone. I want you to imagine that the anger in your body has a sound. It's not a word, it's a primal, non-verbal sound. It might be a low growl, a deep hum, a high-pitched hiss. In the privacy of your space, I invite you to actually make that sound quietly, under your breath. Let the vibration of the sound come from the place in your body where you feel the anger. If it's in your chest, let your chest vibrate with the hum. If it's in your gut, let the growl rumble from your belly. This may feel incredibly strange, but it is a profoundly powerful somatic release technique. You are giving the raw energy of the anger a physical channel to move through and out of your body without directing it at another person. You are discharging the electrical charge in a safe, controlled way. Do this for as long as it feels right, maybe just for a few seconds. Step 3. Ask for the clean message. Now that some of the raw intensity has been discharged, you have created enough inner space to listen for the wisdom. With your eyes still closed, place a hand on the part of your body where the anger was strongest, and ask this simple, powerful question. What is the one clear, powerful sentence you need me to hear? Or, what is the boundary that needs to be spoken? And then, just listen. Listen for the first words that arise in the quiet. Don't edit them. Don't judge them. The answer will often be startlingly simple and direct. It might be, "My time is valuable," or "I will not be spoken to that way," or "I am done being the only one who tries," or "I deserve rest." This sentence is the pure gold. It is the clean anger distilled into its essential truth. It is the message the guardian has been trying to deliver all along. Write the sentence down. Say it out loud to yourself. Let its truth resonate through you. This is the truth that was buried under years of resentment. This is the boundary that will set you free. This practice is your personal alchemy. You take the raw, chaotic, and sometimes toxic energy of dirty anger. You locate it in your body. You give it a safe, somatic voice to release its charge. And then you listen for the clean, golden truth hidden within it. This is how you heal your anger, not by destroying it, but by listening to it so deeply that it no longer needs to scream. You learn to honor its function as your protector. You learn to value its wisdom as your guide. And over time, you will find that you need this formal practice less and less, because you will become so attuned to the first whispers of your anger, the first flicker of irritation, that you can hear its message and act on it with clarity and grace in the moment. You will no longer need a fire alarm, because you've learned to see the smoke. This is not a path to a life without anger. That would be a life without passion, without protection, without the fire of a soul that knows its own worth. This is a path to a life where your anger is no longer a source of shame or a destructive force. It becomes your ally, your power, a sacred fire that warms you, protects you, and lights your way forward. A fire that you are finally learning how to tend. We have stood in the heart of the fire today. We have looked at the emotion we were taught to fear most, and we have refused to turn away. We've learned that our anger is not a flaw to be eradicated. It is a life force to be purified. We've learned to distinguish the toxic, stagnant smoke of resentment from the clean, clarifying fire of a boundary being honored. And we have learned a practice, a form of personal alchemy, to begin transforming one into the other. This is the deep, courageous work of integrating the shadow. It is what Carl Jung meant when he spoke of wholeness. It is not about becoming a saint, floating above the messy reality of human emotion. It is about having the courage to descend into your own depths and reclaim the treasures you left there. Your anger is one of a kind.
It is the dragon that guards your gold. For years, you have been afraid of the dragon. But the work is not to slay the dragon. The work is to befriend it, to learn its language, to honor its power. Because once you do, it will not only let you pass, it will become your greatest ally, its fire lighting your way. This journey changes everything. It changes how you see yourself, moving from a nice person who is secretly resentful to an authentic person who is genuinely kind. It changes your relationships, moving from ones based on obligation and fear to ones based on honesty and mutual respect. It changes your life, moving from a state of chronic exhaustion and depression to one of vitality and purpose. But as you continue on this path, as you get better at honoring your boundaries and feeling your clean anger, a new and unexpected landscape may emerge. As the storms of anger and the waves of guilt begin to quiet down, you may not feel the immediate bliss you were hoping for. You might, instead, feel a kind of emptiness, a stillness that feels less like peace and more like a void. The old dramas are gone, but a new sense of purpose hasn't yet arrived. This can be a disorienting and even lonely part of the journey. Understanding this sacred pause, this liminal space between who you were and who you are becoming, is our next crucial exploration. And that is the path we will walk in our next video, Why You Feel Empty After Awakening, Carl Jung's Sacred Pause. I hope you will join me there. For today, your work is to honor the fire within. This is a safe space to do so. I invite you to take the truth you have uncovered about your anger and give it a voice in the comments below. What was the one clean, powerful sentence your anger needed you to hear? Sharing that sentence is an act of power. It declares to yourself and to this community that you are no longer ashamed of your strength. It affirms that your anger isn't wrong. It's your healing in progress. Thank you for your immense courage today. This is not easy work, but it is the work that matters, the work of reclaiming your own soul. Be patient, be present, and know that you are not just managing your life anymore. You are finally, truly living it.